What is up? Welcome back to Fit Body Secrets, where my mission is to bring you guys inspiration, motivation, and a ton of tips to help you guys on your fitness journey. And today's episode was actually a topic recommended on my last podcast episode. So thanks, starting off great. So thanks to Lex for giving me the idea for this week's episode. And it's one that I have talked about in the past, but I'm always excited to talk about workout nutrition. In fact, I just got done with my workout, so it's very timely. And it is definitely summertime in Florida because I'm still sweaty. Not that anybody cares to know about that. So I'm excited to talk about today's topic. It's something that I feel like does have importance in everybody's journey, but sometimes can be overemphasized, and want to make sure that you guys are getting the most out of your nutrition, especially around your workouts, dependent on your goals. Now, before I go into today's episode, I did want to actually ask y'all a question. I actually sent out an email today from my email provider, or my email list is email providers. Listen to me, I can't even talk straight today. Maybe that workout was harder than I realized. But anyways, I sent out a message today in my emails because I'm looking to create what I'm finding a lot of in the nutrition coaching space is that there's kind of like the people that are able and willing to invest in themselves, and they're able to go on board with having a one-on-one coach, getting the results that they want, which is typically how I operate. I have a one-on-one program. It's very personalized, very customized. And I also often will do some group programs that are just kind of like 3 to 4 week kind of jump starts to get people moving. But what I feel like is missing is there's this middle ground where there's people that are really looking to make changes, and they're very good at doing things on their own. Like, just tell me what to do, coach. I'm going to do it. And maybe they don't need as much of the one-on-one personalized coaching, but they do need the coaching and the adjustments and all of that stuff to be successful. And as I was saying, what I'm finding is that the options out there are kind of limited. You're either getting a really good one-on-one coach and you're having a great experience, or you're getting a cheap coach that's giving you really nothing, and you end up spending a bunch of money and not really getting anywhere. And I'm not saying that I'm going to be the best coach for everybody, but I do want to kind of create a program that's kind of going to be a middle option for those of you guys out there that are maybe familiar with basics of nutrition, and that if you're like, hey, I just need to know exactly what I need to do and change it, and offer something like that for you guys that won't be as high of an investment as one-on-one coaching, but will still give you the value you need and the results, or I'm sorry, the direction you need to get the results that you want. So if that is something that sounds like it's up your alley, and you're looking for somebody to help you out with that, if you could just shoot me a message or even put in the comments, I'm interested. Because I'm just kind of getting some feelers out there. After my last jump start that was really successful, it just occurred to me that, man, I love talking to the group, and I love helping people in that field. So I shouldn't say in that field, but in that way. And if that's something that you are interested in, just let me know, because I'm kind of curious about that and creating something like that. So that is not the topic of today, but I did want to actually put that out there. And I'll probably ask a few other places as well, as I am slowly getting the wheels turning on how to make this work. Because like I said, I really do want to make sure that I'm delivering. It's hard to not do things one-on-one. So it is going to be a one-on-one program, but still offering it at a level where it's not taken away from what my one-on-one clients get, so something middle tier is what I'll call it. And I see a couple of comments there. Good morning. And I am super excited for this episode. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. And for those of you guys that want a quick guide or like a recap of everything that I talk about today, I did actually put together a guide. It's going to be very basic. It ain't going to be pretty just yet, but I probably will pretty it up. But it's going to give you all the information that you need to hopefully be successful. And if you guys have questions that come up as I am actually going through this and you're watching live, I am going to kind of keep my questions open to kind of be able, or my comments open to be able to go over there and take a peek. But I am going to pull my notes up because I want to make sure I stay organized. So first things first is, I get this question all the time. What should I be eating around my workout? And I think that is kind of like well, it really depends. And it's going to depend on a number of things. One thing it's going to depend on is, what your overall goals are right now. So, are you looking to currently lose fat? Are you looking to build muscle? Are you performing? Are you looking to increase your performance? Are you sport focused, competition focused? What time of day you work out? So, are you a first thing in the morning AMer? Are you working out after work? Are you working out midday? What your schedule looks like? What type of training you're doing. So, are you doing a lot of endurance training, or are you doing more strength focused stuff? How long are your training sessions? So, are you hitting a 30 to 40-minute workout? Are you going to be in the gym for 90 minutes to 2 hours? So these are all questions that you have to think about when it comes to that. And then the last one is obviously how your body tolerates food. I'm the kind of person I can kind of eat and it doesn't affect me for my workouts. If I eat a real heavy meal, like I'm not going to want to go out there and do burpees, but for the most part, I can eat a solid meal within 90 minutes and my body digests that pretty quickly. Like for instance, like I mentioned, I worked out and I just had a bowl of oatmeal. That might not be what somebody would typically have after the workout because that might not sound good to them, but that's actually one of my favorite workout meals. And the way my schedule typically works is I'll do my morning AM cardio session and then I take a break and then I'll eat that. I'll work for a few hours and then I'll do my afternoon session. So that's kind of like my intra workout kind of sort of meal. It's kind of like in between my two sessions. But that's how I do things, so everybody's going to be a little bit different, which by the way, if you train multiple sessions a day, that's also going to impact what you're eating. And then obviously, like I said, it starts off with knowing what your primary goal is right now. What I will say is this, there is importance to what you're eating around your workouts for a number of reasons. But one thing that your pre and post workout nutrition is not going to impact is your body composition. I think that a lot of people tend to overthink the whole, oh, if I'm training fasted, I'm going to lose fat faster. Or if I'm training fed, I'm not going to be able to burn fat. Like that's not how your body works. So if you're somebody out there that's concerned about eating around your nutrition affecting or impacting your body composition, you couldn't be further for the truth. But what it could be doing is the way you're eating around your workouts might be impacting your energy levels, and the way that you feel in your workouts. And that could also be impacting your intensity in your workouts, which might, blunt your ability to burn calories as well or build muscle as well. And if it's impacting your energy levels and your appetite throughout the day, that could impact your food decisions and your moving decisions around your day. So it does have an indirect impact, but not a direct impact. What I will often find though with workout nutrition, this is primary to those of you guys that are training earlier in the day, because that's when it's going to be impacting you, is those of you guys that are training earlier in the day, and especially if you're doing something like CrossFit or interval training or anything like that, if you're not getting in a solid post-workout meal, you might find that you're also struggling with energy throughout the day. You might be hitting that 3 or 4 p.m. slump. Appetite might be a little bit off, or maybe you're really, really, really hungry at night. Maybe you're having a hard time focusing. And I often find that one of the biggest reasons why aging women that are at 35 plus, start to have a hard time tolerating high intensity exercise is because they're under eating. And even though that post workout meal isn't necessarily so important for overall calorie intake, that can be a great place to put calories to ensure that you are getting in enough calories to start to support that recovery from your workouts. Okay. So, first thing I'm going to start talking about are the primary goals. Okay. What are your primary goals? Are you currently looking to lose fat? Are you currently looking to perform your best? Or are you currently looking to just maintain your current weight and state and optimize your nutrition for fitness and overall health? If you're currently looking to lose fat, you definitely want to be a little bit smarter with your carb timing and the types of carbs that you're consuming. So this is important when we're talking about post-workout nutrition, because a lot of people are like, oh, I should be drinking like a post-workout carb and protein drink because that is something that can help boost recovery. However, if you're in a fat loss phase, that could easily equate to about 400 calories worth of liquid calories. And then you're going to be hungry an hour later. So that probably wouldn't be the most ideal situation for somebody in a fat loss phase, especially if you do have a bigger appetite. If your goals are performance based, so you're looking to like optimize your nutrition, to build muscle, to get stronger, to get fitter, with the goal of competing, I think the main thing here is you've got to put aside the stress about worrying about your weight and worrying about eating too many calories around your workouts. Your main focus around your workouts should be fueling your workouts for the best energy and then getting enough energy afterwards to recover from that workout. So I think that for people in a performance-based model, you really want to be thinking about like you can't eat too much in that pre and post workout window as long as your body is tolerating it well. And I'm going to go into some more specifics on this in a second. Now, if you are a person who right now is performance based, but you feel like you need to cut a little bit of excess body fat to perform better, which I can go into where that is sometimes okay. If you're carrying extra body fat, you want to lean out a little bit, it might help some things. Smart calorie cycling and diet periodization is really, really, really important. And knowing when the right time to do that is. And you typically wouldn't want to do that when you are in competition season, when your volume is going to be very high and the stress levels of your training is going to be very high. And with that being said, I think that the same kind of tips are going to apply for those of you guys in a fat loss phase, even if you are performance based, that you want to be thinking not so much about drinking your calories, but actually eating them to keep you feeling more satiated. And then if your primary goals are maintenance, you are just looking to maintain your current weight, you're maintaining your overall body composition, but you're looking to improve fitness, maybe make some strength gains along the way. It's really cool because you're in a situation where your pre and post workout is kind of an art and you're just kind of learning how to fine tune things to look and feel your best. Um, and you can kind of use a blend of the fat loss and the performance based overall strategies to allow you to really fuel your workouts while maintaining. So that's kind of going over the three different goals. Now, the next step here is understanding your energy needs, your caloric needs. And it's funny because a lot of people start to dive into pre and post workout nutrition, but don't actually assess what they actually need overall throughout the day, which is honestly the most important thing. So even if you didn't eat anything pre and post workout, if you're getting in enough calories over the course of the day, you're still going to be able to recover. You're still going to be able to get enough energy to perform your best. Optimizing that pre and post workout window will give you that extra boost, but overall energy needs matter most. And the analogy that I wrote down was, imagine that you're looking for the perfect time of day to water your plants, so you don't water your plants, right? Like overall, what matters most is that your plants are getting water. That's their food. So just like with your nutrition, you got to make sure you're getting in enough energy throughout the day. Because if you're not, it doesn't matter what you're putting in pre and post workout, not getting in the right amount of calories throughout the day is going to set you up for failure. So here's an example. If you need to be taking in 150 grams of protein a day and you're prioritizing your 30 grams of protein post workout, but you're not getting in the other 120 grams throughout the day, it's not going to matter that you had 30 grams of protein post workout because you're still going to be protein deficient, and vice versa. If you're in a fat loss phase and you're prioritizing having a meal after your workout, but you're not monitoring your overall calories all day, it's not going to help you get any leaner. So you do need to understand what your energy needs are. And for those of you guys looking for some help with that, in my guide, I actually did put a link for you guys to go ahead and fill out a form, and I can go ahead and give you a rough idea of where I think that your energy needs should be for maintenance. And then you can also assess if you want to be in a fat loss phase or a building phase to kind of know how to tweak from there. And then some considerations for you guys just before I get into your pre and post workout nutrition, because this matters most, is that when you're setting up your energy levels or your energy needs, it's important to look at all of these key factors that are going to help you. So you need to make sure that you're getting in enough calories, enough protein. Proteins are going to help you recover faster from your workouts. They're going to improve your muscle building potential. They're going to speed up your fat loss and actually help ensure that you're getting in some of the important nutrients that are going to help balance out your hormones. Carbohydrates, which a lot of people tend to fear or avoid, or think that they're causing them to gain weight when the weight spikes after they start eating them again. These are going to be providing your muscles with the necessary energy you need to power your workouts while also helping you to recover, because they do help to bring down your cortisol levels after you've been working out. Your fats, dietary fat is going to help provide your body with the nutrients to help reduce inflammation, improve cognition, and also support and cushion your organs and your ligaments. So we need all of those things. And more importantly, we also need to ensure that we're getting in the right quality of food. So that's going to ensure that you're getting that the sources of your protein, carbs, and fats are coming from the right foods to ensure that you're getting also plenty of vitamins and minerals to provide you with the right type of energy and help you reduce inflammation while keeping your appetite under control and also regulating your blood sugar stable or regular, also stabilizing your blood sugar throughout the day. Okay, so before we even get into the pre and post workout nutrition, which I'm going to be doing now, it's really important to look at those things. What are your body's energy needs? And are you taking in the right amount of calories, protein, carbs, fats, and what does your food quality look like? Your overall nutrition throughout the day matters first and foremost. Okay, so that's number one. But now let's go into what you guys want to know a little bit more about is how do I eat around my workout to get the most out of it? And as I mentioned, one of the things I talked about is what time of day you work out along with what your primary goal is. And that's kind of how I'm going to be breaking this down for you so that you can get an understanding of what matters most for you. And again, I have this all in a written format that I'm looking at right now. And if you want a copy of it, you can simply just send me an email and let me know that you want a copy of the guide. Okay, so if you are somebody that works out first thing in the morning, you work out like you wake up, you roll out of bed, you grab your coffee or you grab your pre-workout and you're off to the gym. Okay. Um, the most important thing here is that what you eat before your workout should be very fast digested. And for a lot of people, this is where you might actually want to work out fasted, and that's okay. As long as you are going to be working out less than 45 minutes to an hour and you're able to kind of keep your energy levels up, it's okay to work out fasted. Your pre workout meal is essentially what you've eaten the night before. So I think that people that work out first thing in the morning, I think having a light snack before bed just gives you guys a little bit more calories. Your body's going to digest them. They'll be primed and ready for you in the morning. The reality is, when we're talking about workout nutrition, primarily when it comes to energy, the foods you eat the days before are what matters most. So that's why having your overall energy and your nutrition dialed in across the course of the day matters so much more than what you're eating right before your workout. The goal of that pre-workout meal is just to literally top off your energy levels, top off your glycogen levels and just kind of keep you in a mental state of like, nobody wants to be starving while they're working out, because then all you're thinking about is getting through the workout so that you can go get to your food. So you want to feel like you can really focus in your workouts. Okay, so if you're working out first thing in the morning and you're working out for like 30 to 60 minutes and fat loss is your main goal, I personally think that not worrying about eating right before you work out is really necessary. The only caveat to this, or the only downside, or the only reason I would not say that, is if you're somebody that finds that your blood sugar drops very quickly or you wake up starving, then you might want to have a light snack, or you might want to assess your overall calorie intake and make sure that you're getting in enough calories overall. You might be in too much of a deficit, which could also negatively impact your results. I'll talk about intra-workout in a second with morning workouts. If performance is your main goal, I think that you should experiment with pre-workout liquid carbs or easily digestible snacks. So if you're working out first thing in the morning and you have performance-based goals, you're not focusing on fat loss. Remember, you're not worried about chasing abs right now or chasing body composition. You want to perform your best. I would experiment with liquid carbs. A lot of people do like gummy candies and stuff like that. And as much as I understand that that is a totally fine time to be able to have gummies, enjoy your Sour Patch Kids, enjoy your gummy bears, your gummy worms. I don't love promoting that. I really just don't love it. I don't think it's necessary. They are a really good, fast acting source of carbs, but I also don't think it's really necessary to eat candy in order to perform your best. It's just my opinion. I think instead, you can do like a liquid carb drink. dried mango, like something like a even as something as simple as like a whole grain waffle topped with like a little bit of maple syrup. And I'm going to get into some more sample meals in a second, but just something easy would be fine. If you want to have the gummy candy, that's totally fine as well. And then maintenance, again, you can kind of toggle between performance and fat loss and try and figure out what you feel best. The goal is that when you go into the gym, you should feel like you are primed and ready to work out. By the way, I haven't even mentioned this yet, but you want to know what the best pre workout is, or the best pre workout strategy really is? Getting enough freaking sleep. Okay, so if you're listening to all this and you think that just by eating some gummy candy and or putting some Gatorade in your water bottle, you're going to have all the energy you need, make sure you're getting in enough sleep, because otherwise it's going to be very ineffective. Okay. Now, intra workout is something that for my AMers, I think is a little bit more important than my PMers. Because if you are somebody that's training beyond the 45-minute to the 60-minute mark, or you have multiple pieces where maybe you're starting with some strength work and then some conditioning and then maybe some accessory, you might find that you start losing steam. You start to get tired. And then intra workout carbs is going to be a great way for you guys to get a little bit of boost. And it should look pretty similar to your pre-workout carbs here. The gummy candies, as I mentioned again, dried fruit, some kind of a carb in your water bottle. Some people will do, you can buy something like the cyclic dextrin. You could also just do Gatorade, like it doesn't have to be anything crazy, just a little bit of sugar to keep your body, your energy levels up. Again, if you're in a fat loss phase, you want to kind of watch out for this. But if you're in a fat loss phase, hopefully you're keeping your volume to a level that's actually something that's not too much for you, because in a fat loss phase, you want to kind of watch the intensity a little bit, that you're not overdoing it, burning the candle at both ends. So hopefully that gives you guys a little bit of an understanding of the pre-workout for mornings. Now let's talk about post-workout. Okay. Now, post-workout, no matter what time of day it is, but we're focusing on the AMers right now, is you need to eat. Okay. You need to eat. This is more important than your pre-workout nutrition, hands down. And again, you can choose if you want to do the liquid carbs and protein, that's fine. But for those of you guys that get hungry throughout the day, that might not be the best option if you're trying to control your calories for fat loss. So I'm going to go into a couple of things. Guys, the role of your post-workout is, number one, the most important thing is that you want to start to bring your cortisol levels down. Your body is very insulin sensitive at this time. And so you want to take advantage of those things. And I think that there used to be this whole like anabolic window, or where you have to get your protein in. I don't want you to think about that. But what I do want you to think about is, the longer you delay eating post workout, the hungrier you're going to get, the lower your energy is going to get. So typically, I would say wait about 45 minutes to an hour post workout, because I honestly think that eating something right away post workout typically doesn't sit very well in your stomach. So I think that instead, giving your body a chance to like relax a little bit, come back down, your body's going to digest food a little bit better. If you're somebody that's going from your workout right to work, or you're doing other things, then you might want to do something fast acting protein and carbs just to get something in until your next meal. So like, for instance, let's just say that you're hitting the 5 a.m. class and then you're heading home, you're home at 6:30, and then you're going to take a shower and you're going to do all these things. And then you're going to go to work. If you're not going to eat a meal until like 8:30 or 9, you might want to think about having a quick post-workout drink or easy snack, and then having your first meal around 8:30 or 9. So that's just some other strategies for you. Okay, so when it comes to what you should eat post-workout, fat loss focused people, I really do think that the whole liquid carbs thing can tend to eat up a lot of calories and not leave you very satisfied. So I know for myself, when I've been in a fat loss phase, I'm always like, I'm going to eat my food, not drink it. I'm going to eat my calories, not drink them, because I want to feel full. So I would recommend eating a higher volume breakfast that's higher in protein and carbs. And this goes for everybody, no matter what your goals are, no matter what time of day. That post-workout meal, try and keep it a little bit lower in fat, a little bit higher in volume, a little bit higher in protein and carbs. It's just going to be best for you to feel most satiated and also get the nutrients going to where they need to be going. If performance is your main goal, it's going to really depend on your appetite along with how many sessions you have that day. So I think that for a lot of people, a quick carb and protein post workout here is great. This is where you can once again do the liquid carb and the protein drink, or even a small snack, something as simple as like yogurt and some granola, if you can tolerate food like that. Hell, chocolate milk is even a great option here. And then you can maybe eat a larger meal about an hour later. That's also going to depend on when your next session is. So if you're training multiple times a day, you're going to want to play around with that post workout. Is that actually to also be a pre-workout, or is it a post workout and then a bigger break, and then you're going to have another session later on in the day? Okay, so the main thing, and with all of these, and I'm going to go into maintenance next, is that the meals after your workout, the 2 meals after, are probably where you're going to want to be consuming more of your calories and your carbohydrates, because your body is going to be pretty hungry at those times. Maintenance, again, you can pick and choose from some of the fat loss and the performance-based strategies and use that for your advantage to create a plan that works for you. Main thing is obviously watching overall energy levels, and you want to ensure that your appetite is regulated. So getting in enough calories, again, in those 1 or 2 meals post-workout is really, really important. So AMers, that's what you got. I'm going to pop over to the questions just to see if there's any other questions on this stuff. So far, no questions. Perfect. Awesome. All right. So that's my AM workers. My AM worker outers. How about that? That sounds fancy, right? Let's talk about afternoon/evening workouts, which tends to be the pre-workout can be a little bit trickier here. It's easy when you just wake up in the morning, roll out of bed, and go to the gym. You don't really have to think about food. But when you've been at work all day or you're at work and you're thinking about the workout that you got coming up and you're trying to figure out how to time your food and all that, so when you get to the gym, you actually feel good, it can be a little bit harder, but it doesn't have to be so difficult that obviously it causes you paralysis by analysis. So first and foremost, the pre-workout goal is, as I mentioned, with your morning, it's just to ensure that you're feeling energized for your workout and that you're not thinking about starving. Like, you don't want to be like, I'm so hungry, I just want to get through this workout. It's going to make you feel worse. You do want your food to be digested, so it's not making you feel heavy or run down. But most of you guys are going to have like 2 or 3 meals or snacks already before you work out. So just kind of looking at your timeline and ensuring that, if you're going to hit the 4:30 class, you probably should have something between 2:30 and 3 that's going to hold you over until you get to the gym. Once you start working out, you won't be thinking about food, but you don't want to feel hungry going into it. So just make sure that whatever you have is large enough to where you're not feeling like you're starving right before you get to the gym. And if that happens, again, this is a fine tuning thing. You might have a little quick carb, and then you kind of realize, okay, maybe I need to have my snack a little bit later, or make a little bit bigger snack, or just have that quick carb. Okay. If your goals are, for all goals, fat loss, if you're fat loss focused, performance focused, or maintenance focused, if you had a meal within 2 to 4 hours that did have like quality carbs and protein, you're probably good to go. You probably don't need much, again, unless you're feeling like you're getting hungry again or your energy's low. Then you might want to have a very quick 100-calorie snack. And I'm going to kind of go into that more specifically in a little bit. Intra workout, again, this is really going to depend on the length of your sessions. I think that the main thing is knowing what your overall goals are and looking at your overall calories throughout the day. So fat loss, what I would honestly recommend is that you want to kind of think about your training specific to your goals, and kind of when you're going through your pieces in your training, thinking about what you want to get most out of it. And that's going to help ensure that the fuel that you're using is being used primarily for what you want it for. So if fat loss is your main focus right now, you might be keeping the higher intensity pieces of your training earlier on in your session. This way you're going to have enough energy to get through those pieces, and then saving your lower intensity, less stressful stuff for later on, which I honestly would recommend for everybody if you are trying to avoid having to take an intra-workout carbs. I'm the kind of person that when I'm in a fat loss phase, I kind of want to be able to enjoy my food, and just shoving candy in my mouth in the middle of a session to ensure that I've got enough carbohydrates on board isn't always going to make me feel satisfied if I'm in a fat loss phase. So typically that's going to look like if I have, high intensity lifting or high intensity intervals or CrossFit, I'll do that first. And then like the stuff that really doesn't matter, like the accessory stuff or whatever, I can do that and be okay with being a little hungry. I'm all right with that. But I don't want to be doing that high intensity stuff while I'm thinking about food. Performance and maintenance, you're really going to want to go by feel. Your goal, as I mentioned, isn't so much about calorie control as it is about maximizing the amount of calories that you can consume while maintaining your current body composition or weight. So essentially what I'm saying there is that you want to kind of play around with like almost walking the line of I can eat a little bit more and still stay lean. Like that's the goal here, is really pushing the limits there and knowing what you can actually get away with. And it can be the same thing for fat loss as well, but that's really for my performance and maintenance crew. You want to ensure that you're really kind of walking that fine line of almost overfeeding a little bit, and then always tapering it back if things start to change. Um, as I mentioned, the goals here post workout are really the same as they are in the morning. You want to make sure that we're replenishing those lost glycogen and helping to, bring down your cortisol levels. We also want to make sure that we have enough protein to start the recovery phase. But it's really important for the post workout people to think about a lot of what you've already had throughout the day is going to be providing a lot of that nutrition, so you won't have the same post workout hunger as somebody who is working out first thing in the morning. They have their whole day ahead of them. So you might have, more calories earlier on, but I would recommend making sure that you have 1 or 2 meals after your workout still to come, to ensure that you're getting in enough calories to well, at this point, if you're not getting in enough calories later on in the day, it might affect your sleep. So you want to make sure you're getting in enough calories. The worst thing you can do is not have anything left over. And I had a client years ago that was doing this. She was working out at like 7:30 at night. So she was going through all of her calories. And then she was having a hard time sleeping because she was having like a protein shake after her workout. I'm like, you got to have something after your workout. Okay. Now we're going to talk about, there's a lot to go over. Still got plenty of stuff. How much should you be eating pre and post workout? Again, this is going to be very specific to your calorie budget, your intensity, how much training, how much volume you're doing in your training sessions, and your overall goals. So main thing is that your pre-workout, if it is an actual true pre-workout snack, it's something that you're taking in within that hour to 90 minutes ish before you're starting your workout session. Small. It should be 100 to 200 calories, easily digestible carbs with a little bit of protein, especially if you're doing some higher intensity training. That's all your body needs. Whether that's what your body wants is a different story. So you might be somebody like, I like want to have half a protein bar and that makes me feel good. That's really not giving you the energy for your workout. It's just honestly giving you the mental, probably a little bit of the appetite control to keep you focused on your workout. So the main thing is knowing what makes you feel your best for your session. Post workout, this is where it's going to depend on, again, how many calories you're consuming throughout the day, how many calories your body needs, the time of day you're working out, and how many meals you're going to have after that. So if you're working out first thing in the morning, you want to be able to have calories throughout the day. Whereas if you're working out later on in the day, most of your calories are going to be earlier on. Okay. But the main thing is that if you're going to be having a post workout snack before a meal, again, it's probably going to be somewhere in the 150 to 300 calorie range, depending on when your next meal or snack is going to be. So if you're just having a quick snack and then you're going to go home and eat dinner, probably closer to 150 to 200. If you're going to be having that, but you're not going to have another meal or snack for a couple of hours, you might want to have a little bit more calories just because it's going to keep your appetite regulated. The main thing right now is understanding that you're going to have to fine tune the perfect amount for you. But I'm going to go back to what I said in the beginning, that don't overthink this. Analysis by paralysis. You want to feel good and you want to ensure that you're getting in enough calories over the course of your whole day. That's what matters most. Okay. So what should you be eating pre, intra, post workout? Okay. I kind of already talked about carbs and proteins, but now I want to give you guys some specific foods that you guys can consider. and actually a few ideas for some snacks that I actually have created as well. And there are tons of things you guys can be doing. All right. So, what I'm going to talk about first and foremost is the ratio. And this is, again, going to be personalized based on the person, based on the type of training, based on their calorie and their macro breakdown, but somewhere between a 2-to-1 or a 4-to-1 carb to protein ratio. So we want to be getting in more carbs than protein. And so that might look like 30 grams of protein. I'm sorry, 20 grams of carbs and 10 grams of protein, or 40 grams of carbs and 10 grams of protein. Something along those lines is going to be what's going to be best for you. Those are small numbers. It might be 30 grams of protein and 120 grams of carbs. That's where we can kind of look at what type of training you're doing, the type of volume you're doing, and how many carbohydrates you're consuming over the course of the day. So, example, if you're an athlete, I eat about 500 carbs a day. That's going to be very different than somebody who is only eating about 150 to 200 carbs a day. So my post-workout nutrition might be closer to 100 carbs, whereas that person might only be eating 30 carbs. So you can see where the ratio of carbs to protein can be a little bit different. And this is where the types of foods that you're consuming might look a little bit different based on your appetite. So some good carb sources for that post-workout are going to be, and I'm going to give some more natural sources, along with some that maybe are a little bit more quote unquote processed. Again, this doesn't really matter right now. Just kind of know that the goal is that these are simple carbs. Peeled sweet potatoes are a very clean source. Oatmeal, cereal, dried fruit, crackers, whole grain breads, waffles, rice cakes, low fat granola bars or granola, carb powders, or like Gatorade drinks, graham crackers, even things like honey, fruit snacks like the Welch's fruit snacks. Those are all ideas of good carbohydrates. You want to think of lower fiber, easier to digest. So anything that doesn't make you feel, oh, before, after is what you're kind of looking for. And all of those things would be sufficient. Baby food packs have a lot of this stuff in it. They sell things like goos. Those are all fine. Proteins, the best source is going to be a good quality whey protein, non-fat Greek yogurt, egg whites, chicken breast, shrimp, deli meat, anything that's kind of a low fat that sits well in your stomach. Your gut is going to be the telltale for what your body tolerates. Again, this is also where waiting about an hour or so after your workout might actually help you, because now you're not so stressed about like, oh, I can't stomach egg whites right now. Whereas an hour later, you might actually feel like having like an egg white omelet or something like that, just giving your body that chance to come down. Intra-workout carbohydrates, like I mentioned earlier, should be primarily sugar-based. The Gatorade, the dried fruit, even gummy candy, or like the fruit snacks are also great. The main thing in that post-workout window, it's not super important, but I do think keeping your fat intake a little bit lower is going to be helpful. I think it also tends to build for more satiating meals and snacks later on throughout the day, because now when you're actually able to sit down and digest your food, you can have a more complete meal. And then I'm going to go over a couple of ideas here for you guys to kind of think about when you're building out your pre and post workout nutrition plan. I have some quick and easy snacks that you guys can consider that maybe you haven't. So one of my favorites is I love taking a whole grain waffle or two. I'll use the powdered peanut butter because it's lower in fat. Add a little bit of water to it to create a paste. Put it on top of the waffles. Top it with some bananas. And a trick is to go ahead and freeze those banana slices, because it's amazing. It's like the hot toasted waffle with the peanut butter and then the cold bananas. It's just a nice combination. Another really easy thing is to use some whole grain cereal. I do the multigrain Cheerios. You can mix that with some of the Fairlife brand fat-free milk, which is going to be a little bit higher in protein and lower in carbs. You can also use some unsweetened almond milk and some whey protein. Shake it up in a shaker, pour it over your Cheerios or your cereal of choice, and that makes a really delicious snack as well. I think using rice cakes, I'll do like some chocolate rice cakes. You can make a really easy protein spread where you're taking a little bit of low-fat cream cheese, some vanilla whey protein, a little bit of sugar-free substitute, and maybe a splash of almond milk to create a spread. Put it on top of the chocolate rice cakes, and that's like a really good, almost like a cheesecake flavor topping. Things as simple as like a Cliff Bar or a granola bar would be great. apple, and you can do like a peanut butter yogurt dip. So taking some yogurt and some powdered peanut butter, mixing it together, slicing up an apple, dipping that in there, cheese and crackers. And some of this stuff is probably going to be more relevant to my afternoon people because, as I mentioned, the early morning people, it's probably going to be something simple like the granola bar or the waffle. But cheese and crackers using low fat or fat free cheese slices and some Triscuits. I love the white cheddar rice cakes. Those are pretty low in fiber and carb, and they have some carbs in them. Topping that with a little bit of like the Laughing Cow cheese. And then post workout, you can pretty much do any of those, but I would probably just add a little bit more protein to it. And I really love making post workout smoothies. So I put a couple of things here. A chocolate peanut butter banana smoothie where you're going to use a chocolate protein powder, some banana, a powdered peanut butter to keep the fat low, and unsweetened almond milk. Again, freeze your bananas. It's going to be a game changer for you. You can change it up the fruits, but that's going to be a good one. An orange creamsicle smoothie. You can take some orange juice. I would use the Simply Orange 50/50. It's a little bit lower sugar, with some vanilla protein powder and a little bit of vanilla pudding mix and ice. And that's going to be like an amazing, like orange, especially coming into the summer months right now. I already mentioned the protein cereal. Other carb that I like to do, a peanut butter version, is this is my favorite post-workout, is I do 2 English muffins and I top that with a powdered peanut butter spread with some frozen blueberries. That's one of my things. Other really easy things are like buying those enlightened ice cream bars. Those are usually pretty low in fat if you get the kinds without the chocolate coating, and you can have 1 or 2 of those. Yogurt and fruit, or yogurt and granola, hard-boiled egg whites and some fruit, maybe some pretzels and some deli turkey would be a good option. So those are kind of some different ideas for you guys to get an idea of like a higher carb protein snack or meal after your workout. Again, you can even go into simplest things like chicken and rice, lean ground beef and rice, shrimp and rice, or potatoes. Those are all fine too. But I was looking primarily for, like, most of you guys are going to be grabbing something to have in the car on your way home from the gym, that would be easy digested and also fun to eat. So the main takeaways today are, making sure that you're also the main takeaways today are, number one, making sure that you're getting in enough calories and nutrients over the course of your day, because that's what matters first and foremost before you even think about optimizing your nutrition around your workout. So think of it like I mentioned the plant analogy. Okay. Watering your plants matters way more than finding the perfect time to water your plants. So make sure that you're getting in enough calories over the day. Number 2 is experimenting with what makes you feel best in your workout. So if you try something out and you're feeling super heavy and sluggish, maybe try lightening up what you had beforehand. If you're working out fasted and you're just kind of curious about testing something out, try and have a quick carb and see if your body feels any different. And then the last thing is that your overall goals right now primarily are going to dictate what you're going to be doing pre and post workout in terms of what you're eating calorically, and also the types of foods that you're eating. So hopefully that answers lots of your guys' question. I'm going to kind of take a look back here and see whole grain isn't CF. What does that mean? Can you explain that to me? I don't know. I don't know if you can explain that to me. I just was looking at my questions on my for Bruce. If you could answer that for me, what do you mean by whole grain isn't CF? But that's just something that I was curious about. Anyways, if you guys have more questions on pre, intra, post workout, maybe if you want to go over some things that you're experiencing, like, hey, I've been doing this and this is what I feel, just feel free to shoot me a message, and I'd love to kind of help you figure out or fine tune your pre, intra, post workout. And again, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, if you are interested in learning more about that kind of middle tier, I know I need a coach, but I don't really need the full-on coaching. I kind of know what I need to do. I just need somebody to guide me with doing it. If that's something that interests you a little bit, just either put in the comments interested or send me an email. I put my email to get the guide as well in the show notes. It's Cheryl@myfitbodyrx.com. But until the next episode, I will see you all later.